We are your hosts, Chris Harris Jr., Super Bowl champion, Shelby Harris, current player of the Cleveland Browns, and myself, Ryan Harris, 10-year veteran of the NFL and Super Bowl champion, alongside Chris Harris Jr. Well, boys, let's get rolling, and let's start with Monday Night Football. Should Nick Sirianni have thrown the ball late in the game?
No. I'll tell you that, man. I'm talking about me and my wife. We just did an escape room. We come back after the escape room. We go to BJ's. We're watching the game. It's third down. They don't have any timeouts left. I'm a big believer. Run the ball. Let the clock go down. I don't care if you don't get the first, but at least it's under a minute. They have no timeouts. It's, you got to play the time game. And we know how it is. Every game in the NFL is crucial. It's the difference between home field advantage or, being in the wild card, having to go play the number 2 team in the league. Yes. So, you got to make those better decisions. I think, obviously it was there. Saquon should have caught the ball, but you just got to keep the ball. You got to keep the ball rolling and, and live and die by the run and take the points and let your defense play.
Right. That just showed that coach doesn't believe in the defense. Right. He's extra aggressive. He's not, he's not enforcing his time management. Right. And that's crucial in the NFL. Right. I always kind of think, like, what would Kubiak do? You know what I'm saying? I think Kubiak would run that football, and try to put it on the defense. Right. And as a defense, that's kind of like, we know that a lot of games you're going to have to win the game with a 2-minute drill or 1 minute left in the game. That happens all the time in the NFL. Mm-hmm. So you got to have that trust in the head coach. And right now, I think the reason why he was aggressive is just because he doesn't trust the defense.
Well, to me, I'm with you guys. Run the ball. Number one, you get the time. Number two, you might actually get a first down as well. This is the Philadelphia Eagles, right? And number three, like, the game of football will punish you when you do not behave. And Nick Sirianni did not behave, right? And we can go back Super Bowls with the 49ers and the Chiefs. If you don't run the ball at key situations, you're not going to win. The game does punish you. And I feel like everybody got to see that with Nick Sirianni. And it's shocking to me how brilliant coaches completely lose their mind in key situations. Like, the three of us know right now, there are going to be, of the 16 games played this weekend, 5 of those games are coming down to the last minute and a half. And clock management, whether it's at the end of the half, like the Detroit Lions, what are they doing? I mean, you have to be able to execute key situations or the game will punish you. And that's what I think we saw.
Man, we saw a lot of great, quarterback play over this last week, and a lot of bad quarterback play over this last week. And, it's been really interesting the first 2 weeks of who's been the best quarterbacks in the league. And I would love to hear, who do y'all think right now the top 3 quarterbacks right now in the league?
Man, my top one so far, based off last week, we got to put Kyler Murray up there. Derek Carr, he's balling. And I'm going to put an underdog one. This is my underdog guy that's been balling, Sam Darnold. Mm-hmm. He got them undefeated. He's able to connect with Justin Jefferson a lot last week. And that's what I'm saying. Derek Carr throwing bombs, right? Going against the Cowboys, going into Dallas, and just bombs away with Rashid and all those other, and Chris Olave and their receivers, and Kyler Murray, everybody made a big deal about his press conferences, right? And what he was saying, which I think he was talking crazy. His job is to get Marvin Harrison the ball.
Yes.
Right? He's talking crazy. But he did that last week, and, he was scrambling. He was using his legs. He was accurate, and he showed why he was the top quarterback in the draft yesterday. So hopefully he can keep that same momentum up the whole year.
Well, I'm going to start with my top 3 quarterbacks. I'm going to start with Baker Money Mayfield. Get out of here. I mean, this man is playing out of his mind, became a dad. So you guys know he's staying at the facility about 30, 45 more minutes, getting that extra film in and stuff. But I love what Baker Mayfield's done, and that is a dangerous team Tampa Bay has. A lot of winning veterans that are willing to do what it takes. I'm going as well with Derek Carr. I mean, that was a statement now. You go into Dallas and you beat the brakes off the Cowboys. You got a great quarterback going for you. And then lastly, for me, I'm just going to put Patrick Mahomes in here. I mean, all he's doing is winning. I want to say Joe Burrow. They played a good game, but Patrick Mahomes, when the money counts, he's got the most of it. And Patrick Mahomes is on my list as well.
Man, yeah, I agree with Ryan. You know, my biggest thing I always say, you got to have Mahomes at the top. Until somebody dethrones him, you know, you got to have him at the top as the top quarterback. And then Derek Carr, that's my draft class in Oakland. It was me, DC, Khalil Mack, Gabe Jackson. We had a crazy draft class that year, but I'd say Derek Carr is, he's really shut up the haters. But hey, we got to give a shout out to Clint Kubiak. What has he done to that offense? You know, we were just talking about Gary, but what has Clint done to that offense? You know, otherwise stagnant offense the last couple of years. They really have taken off and changed. You know, made Derek Carr look like the old DC from before he got hurt that year. They were about to go to the playoffs, and then you gotta throw Baker in there. Baker's been out there balling. Baker's over there. You know, they just beat the Lions. Everyone talks about how bad the NFC South can be, but they just beat the Lions, and so you got to put some respect on his name. The man's out here doing his thing.
I don't know too. If you guys, before you go, Chris, on your topic, real quick. Did you guys see this defense of the Raiders, by the way? I mean, not only you got Derek Carr, not only do you have the Raiders without a quarterback, but their defense is so good, they might not need a quarterback this year, and are going to win some games with Gardner Minshew. What do you guys make of that Oakland Raiders defense?
I mean, of course they got an edge when you got Crosby, and I like Jones in the back end. I think they're playing solid, and what they do is they're not going to do too much on defensive side under Pierce. And they've been a lot more disciplined than past Raider teams. So that's why they're in the game. They have a chance every week with Gardner. Hopefully he can find Devontae and have some big plays. And Bowers, I definitely wanted him too. You know, we seen by the drops of Denver what we have with Dolchich. You know, we need a tight end, but the Raiders definitely have a chance. And the AFC West, we got to give it to KC right now, of course, being undefeated. And the Chargers being undefeated, surprise team, right? But I think it's going to go down to the end, man. It's going to be a tight race.
Man, but like you said, if the Raiders keep playing defense, you know, you can win any game. And if you can hold, that's the thing. The Raiders being down 10 points in the fourth quarter and somehow grinding it out and coming out for a win over the Ravens, I don't think anybody had that on their cards for a Sunday football. You know what I mean? Like, it's tough. And when you have a leader that plays as hard as Max Crosby does every play, you can't help but the rest of your team go out there and start balling and doing what they need to do too.
I don't think the Ravens are the same. Without Mike McDonald, their system is not the same. You know, he's a hell of a coach. We got to put some respect on his name too. With his schemes and the defense, he makes it very tough on opposing offenses because he runs everything 3-4-4-3. He runs the whole package, right? So we're seeing with the Ravens, maybe we hyped them up too much. You know, maybe they're a team that, you know, that's not as good as we put on paper.
Well, and how can that be with Derrick Henry in the game? You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to see the Packers run 50 times. I want to see the Ravens run 50 times. Like, do they know their personnel? Like, Put him at the slot. Motion Henry in. Send him out. Send Lamar left. I mean, this cannot be so hard to figure out if you're the Ravens. And I don't believe their coaches understand the ability to run the football on every single play that they have, and they're not willing to rely on that throughout the game. Maybe you get 1 or 2 yard runs in the first quarter, but those are going to turn into 3 to 6 to 12 yard runs there in that middle of end of the third. You gotta play the run game that you got within your personnel.
But also, the type of runs that Derrick Henry is used to are when the quarterback is under center. They're doing a lot. They're doing all these shotgun runs because they want to keep Lamar as the read option guy. But then that's just not what Derrick Henry does best. And so if you're going to keep trying to force Derrick Henry to do stuff that he's not used to, then you're not going to get the full potential out of Derrick Henry. And I get it. You have a electric playmaker like Lamar. But why go get Derrick Henry if you're not going to let him be Derrick Henry?
Yeah.
But then also, we got to talk about the O-line. You know, that O-line has struggled the first 2 weeks. And so they got to step up and keep things clear for Lamar and Derrick Henry. No matter if it's a shotgun run or not, you still got to block. And it's been a struggle the first 2 weeks.
Well, I'm with you on 2 points. One, we found out the year we won the Super Bowl, when your quarterback is under center on a run, the ball gets to the line of scrimmage a full second faster. You have to have under center play from your quarterback. And secondly, to your point, Shelby, about the offensive line, when you have those run pass options, a lot of times you're putting your linemen in man blocking schemes. That's not going to work in the NFL, where defensive ends and tackles are flying every which way and linebackers are coming in. You have to have your offensive line moving in unison. And until they figure that out, I think the Ravens are going to keep coming up short in key games.
I got a question right there, though. It might be off topic a little bit, but what's wrong with the offensive line play? Why is it so bad, or so behind in the NFL compared to other positions? What I'm seeing, just the development is bad.
Yes.
Technique is bad across the board. And I just see everybody is a couple, like Joe, I'm watching him. He came in straight in, great technique. Yeah. Right. I guess it's just rare form that you have these old linemen that are ready to play.
Well, number one, you're seeing the effect of the hand clap in college football when you get to the NFL, right? I think it's something like 80 to 90% of linemen are coming from an offense where they can't anticipate the snap count. Now, we talk about Joe Alt, Chris. I got to talk to him at the bowl game. He came over and said, "Hey, Ryan, what do I need to know?" I said, "Number one, anticipate that snap count." I said, "When they give you that second color, the ball's coming." And the look on his face was like, "Really? Like they can snap before set hut?" It's like, "Oh, they are snapping before set hut." So you have a lot of guys who haven't even learned how to anticipate a snap count, then being passed up by everybody who's been in the league. So that's the first issue. And then the other issue is you have the most coaches that didn't play the position happens on the offensive line and coaching staffs. Could you imagine if you had a quarterback's coach that didn't play quarterback, a receivers coach that never played receiver? And so you get coaches that tell tackles like, "Hey, have a strong inside hand." No, that's the opposite thing. If you're an offensive tackle, you need to have a strong outside hand when you punch. So the combination of the hand clap cadence in college, as well as coaches who have no idea what they're talking about regarding the offensive line to give them the techniques, that's why the offensive lines have been struggling, especially young players. And you're right, Chris, it's only getting worse and worse because other positions, they're going to work out in a pro-style offense. These guys are learning how to get off the ball.
Man, I think it starts in college. To be truthfully honest, I think it starts in college because these college schemes are so it's all about trickery or anything like and all that other stuff, but it's not about trying to run the ball down somebody's throat. It's not about being physical. It's all this finesse. It's all about pass blocking. But when it comes down to it in the NFL, we run the ball. You got to run the ball to be successful. In college, you don't really have to. Or it's all gimmicky runs. And the issue I always have is, also like what Ryan said. Most of these coaches, I always say there's more bad coaches out there than there are good coaches.
Woo! Say it again for him.
And a lot of people don't realize that, like even in NFL,
a lot of bad coaches.
Just because you say you're a college NFL coach, that doesn't mean you're good. And you have people that never played the position over here just reading off a board and trying to tell people what they need to do. That's not where's the technique part of it. And I've said this before. O-line and D-line is struggling nowadays because of the college game, but then that's why vets like myself, you just keep getting years and years added onto your career.
Yeah.
Because no one can play how we do. No one can play physical. No one just wants to go in there and play the run. Like O-linemen don't want to run block anymore. But then, like you said, Chris, like Joe Alt, he goes out there and he looks like a 6-year vet already as a rookie. But then you have these other guys who you just never see that development happen. And I truly believe it's because of just what they've been taught in college, but then also in the league, they're just not getting the best system. And when you're firing your O-line coach every year, when you're firing your offensive coordinator every year, it's the same as quarterback. You need consistency. You need people to be able to work with you year in, year out to actually develop you. And you're not getting that anymore in the NFL.
No, sir. Well, boys, let's twist over to the rookie quarterbacks. It's been a rough sledding for the rookie quarterbacks. You got Bo Nix leading the way with 4 touchdown passes. Caleb Williams coming behind him with 2. Some have struggled, some have not struggled. What have you seen from these rookie quarterbacks this year?
Nothing. Just to be completely honest, like I hate to say it like that, but this whole argument we keep having every preseason, oh, he's arrived, he's going to be a top 10 quarterback, he's going to be this. Yeah, nobody plays in the preseason anymore. We need to stop this talk of they're cutting up the third string, so it's just like they're back in college all over again. You know what I mean? Like, this is not, the league is difficult. These defensive schemes, as you see, it's probably been the lowest scoring 2 weeks in a long time in the NFL. These defenses are good. These pass rushers are good. They're going to get home. You got to make your reads quick. You got to be able to get to that second read, third read quick. There is no more quick screens every time you don't have anything else to do. You got to diagnose these defenses, and I truly believe like these quarterbacks will be good, but the issue is they're just not. And I feel like a lot of these coaches are putting too much on their plate right away for them to be successful. They got to make it simple, keep it easy, but also you got to run the damn ball. All these rookie quarterbacks, what they need is a good run game in order to be successful, and we're not getting that from any of these teams.
Right. I think the game is just fast. It's a lot faster. The DBs are moving a lot faster. The disguise is a lot. They got to read the defenses a lot faster. All that's in the play, right? The pass rush is coming. They don't have the clean pocket every time like they did majority of the time in college. A lot of these times in college, these guys can play around and do whatever they want back there, and hold the ball 8 seconds, right? All the time, right? But Caleb Williams, that's what he's struggling at. He has to be able to get the ball out faster. When he does scramble, he has to put more in his arm because, the one that he did scramble to the right, he underthrew in college. That might be a 50-yard completion, right? So it's just he has to adjust to the games of the speed of the game. And with Bo, Bo just looks very uncomfortable, right? He has very bad feet mechanics right now. He's staring down the receivers. He's not stepping up in the pocket right now. And majority of that reason is we have no run game. Bo Nix leads the team in rushing yards. Right, Devontae Williams had 1.7 yards per carry. So they need some run. They need everybody else around them to play great, so they can play good. If everybody else sucks around them or is not playing good around them, what do you think a rookie quarterback is going to play? He's going to suck too. So we can't think that these rookie quarterbacks are going to lift up a whole team, especially in their first year.
I'm with you guys 100%. And I want to pick up, too, on a couple of things Chris Harris Jr. said. When it comes to Bo Nix and the Broncos, he's growing, and there's no one around him performing consistently. And they had, I think it was 8 penalties on offense, 9 on the day, at home, by the way, which that should never happen. And for Bo Nix, they would have a 0-yard run, a penalty, and then a drop pass. I mean, you can't develop in that kind of environment. So the offensive line for the Broncos must play better. They have to take it personally, and they have to start opening up some run lanes because it's unsustainable to not have a run game and put it on your rookie quarterback. And when you talk about Caleb Williams, Caleb Williams just has not accepted the fact that all things being equal on a football field, everybody else in the NFL is as good of an athlete as you. The defensive linemen are such a great athlete. They're not going to allow you to spin out like that. And oh, by the way, they're not watching film. They're studying film to beat you physically. That's a very different frame of focus. And Caleb Williams hasn't done that. I think the best, though, so far, maybe not in the numbers, but look out for Jaden Daniels now. That young man can play, and he can sling that rock. So, I mean, when it comes to rookie quarterbacks, I'm with you guys. It's so hard to put it on them to grow a franchise, to take him over the hump. I mean, that's really not at that position, really not possible, especially if you don't have everybody else, whether it's a run game, coaches making the right decisions with clock and timing. I mean, everybody else has to do their job that much more when you have a rookie quarterback.
Maybe it wasn't Justin Fields' fault.
Clear. Look out.
We're quick to try to blame. We're quick to try to blame, but maybe it wasn't Justin Fields' fault. But then look at Bryce Young now. They just benched him. They just benched the young guy. And this is kind of, for me, the same situation that Justin Fields was in. You put him in the offense, you don't give him any weapons, and then you say, why are you not producing?
Yeah.
Why are you not successful? We drafted you number 1. Why are you not successful. What do y'all think about this whole benching Bryce Young in the second year, week 3?
I actually think it's a good move. You know, just watching him, he has no confidence, and he's just, you know, he's getting blasted back there left and right. Their old line is atrocious. No run game over there also. So I think it's just, you know, I would say let him sit. Let Andy Dalton run the show right now. I don't think they're still going to lose. They're still going to be a bad team, but it's just let him see the game from the outside looking in a little bit. Let him try to slow it down a little bit better for him. I think just the team around him is bad, and Bryce Young is not going to see any success, and all it's going to do is just kill his confidence even more. So I would say just take him out right now and try to save as much confidence as you can that he has. You know, he looks like he doesn't have any at all.
Well, and for me, we get to tell viewers and listeners there are certain franchises that make stupid moves that continue to cost them down the road, and the Carolina Panthers is one of them. You had Coach Wilkes almost take them to the playoffs with a talentless team, and they went for somebody else, right? I think in one game they ran for like 320 yards. Is that right? It's a couple years ago now.
Yeah, that run game going.
Yeah, and so if you're the Carolina Panthers, 2 years ago they made a bad decision, and it's only continued. And you know, I love your guys' opinion on this, because even as a lineman, when you have a shorter quarterback like Bryce Young, right, you're worried about getting hit in the helmet, right? Because sometimes you're going to get that. Oh, he's scrambling, bink, it hits you in the back of the head, hurts real bad. What do you guys think when you see a small quarterback?
Man, it's time to get loose.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Because the thing is, like, you know, he's not going to step up in the pocket. He's just going to try to escape to the sides. And so just like when you play Kyler Murray, if you can get that inside pressure, it's over. If you can knock the guys back, and they don't have a small O-line. You know, they got Robert Hunt, Damian Lewis. Like, they don't have like tiny guards, tiny centers. And so if you can knock back the guards, the centers, and make him get in his face, all he's going to keep doing is keep going backwards. And all that's going to do is keep buying you time to get home. And so, you know, that's the thing about smaller quarterbacks. You gotta get the pressure. And they're playing teams with good rushers, and they're eating.
Yeah. Him being small, and I don't think he's overly athletic. Right? I'm not seeing him just scrambling and breaking away. And usually when a smaller guy like that, he usually has a lot more speed. And, you know, I don't see the elusiveness through Bryce. I see him just standing in the pocket getting killed. I see him not setting the protections at all, you know. So the way Nick Saban boosted him, like he made it to be like he was like Chris Paul. You know, he's just going to orchestrate everywhere. He knows the whole offense. He understands defenses. He's just so cerebral in the mind, right? And I'm not seeing that, right? I think right now the Alabama quarterbacks, man, y'all might have to be on notice because we're not getting that same transfer in the NFL.
Yeah,
man, I just think, you know, in the Bryce Young, you know, realm of things, you got to think it's the second year, second head coach, second offensive coordinator. That you're never going to be successful like that. Every time you see a young quarterback have all these different coaches and, you know, new QB coach, new OC, you're going to fail. And, you know, it's all about that comfortability of being in a scheme for multiple years. The best quarterbacks are the ones that have been in the same scheme for years. Look at Mahomes. Mahomes had Andy Reid this whole time, and he just keeps getting better and better and better. I just think of it when we had Vic Fangio as our head coach / defensive coordinator. Our defense literally got better every year because it's like you adding another layer every year onto the defense, and that's what offenses do. But that's the thing is, like, when a lot of these teams that draft their quarterback number 1 overall, you know, it's so much turnover. Somebody just got fired. You know what I mean? It's always something. And it's just another year. You might as well just call him another rookie quarterback because it's another year getting thrown to the wolves as you're still trying to learn the offense. And I like what Chris said. You know, maybe he does need a break, get his confidence back. You know, slow everything down a little bit. But I don't think this is the end of Bryce Young. I think it's just a little breather right now.
Well, I want to bring up one thing. I want to help illustrate for people. When we say step up in the pocket, what we're talking about is climb the pocket. And you can literally pause on every pass play. If a quarterback starts backing up, you can pause it, and there's a lane if that quarterback steps up in the pocket where they're not going to get hit. Tom Brady was one of the best at this. He would sit back there and climb that pocket. But for you guys, at corner and in the secondary, Chris, when they climb the pocket, you can't see them, right? Because you don't know if they're running, or so it causes some confusion. Shelby, if they climb the pocket, now you're out of position. You got to come back and hope you're not spinning back into a guard or tackle. I mean, what prevents quarterbacks from stepping up in the pocket? Because it's going to be there every time.
They're not used to it. And in college, you know what I mean? In college, you got these teams that have the clean pocket, especially if you go to these powerhouse schools. How often do you see them getting sacked 5 times a game?
No,
you know what I mean? How often do you see them having I always say Tom Brady was the best at this because Tom Brady couldn't run for shit. He couldn't do it. He literally couldn't move.
Yeah.
But I tell you this, the way he maneuvered the pocket was a masterclass. I'm talking about he's stepping up. He's buying time for his receivers to get open. But these new QBs come in, they've never had to do this. And if you need the coaching, it has to be some instinct in it too. Because these D lines, like I tell you in our D line meetings, what we see now, we talk about how far he drops back. And when he throws it, how far do they step up? We build our rushes around that. And we expect you to have to step up. And so we're always talking about level rushing. Don't go behind the quarterback. You just stay quarterback level and you'll make the plays. And so I feel like these new quarterbacks, though, it's just they're not used to the idea of stepping up in the pocket because they're used to no one being around them. You know what I mean? Like at USC, Alabama, at LSU, how often were these guys, it might be one game when they guys play each other, but how often were they getting hit like that? Where you had to really avoid all the pressure. And so, the more that they get hit, they're going to have to learn, hey, I have to keep my eyes downfield, but I have to find ways to buy a little bit more time without trying to run past the tackles. You got to stay in that pocket and things will open up for you.
The best 3 quarterbacks I faced going in the pocket, Tom Brady, one, like Shelby was saying, he doesn't move, right? After he gets that shotgun, he's staying right there. He might take a little step back, but he's coming right back in the middle, right? So we always had to get pressure up the middle with Tom Brady because he would just let Von and them go around him, right? So Von had to make his turn a little bit tighter, going against Brady. Same thing with Drew Brees. Aaron Rodgers manipulating the pocket, coming out, going back in, coming out, going back in, acting like he's going out, then coming back in the middle. Like Aaron Rodgers he's the best at doing that, right? Him and Brady and Brees. So, and also, I got to throw Mahomes in there.
Yeah.
Right. He's taking a little bit from all those guys, but he scrambles outside the pocket and he runs a little bit more than those guys. But that's something that I think all the rookies need to go back and look at Brady. Look at Drew Brees. Look at young Aaron Rodgers, how they played the pocket, how they manipulated the rush, right? Because you're going to have to manipulate the rush with the way y'all offensive linemen are looking out there right now.
Yeah.
Right? So they better learn how to do
news for you. Yeah. You want to take another topic, Chris?
Oh, yeah, man. Let's go, man. What's y'all 3 best defensive plays this week, man? Y'all want me to go first? I got my 3.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, man. One of my favorite plays was Derek Stingley, right? He's becoming one of my favorite corners. The kid has extremely high level ball skills, right? And he had a beautiful pick versus the Bears. Went up and high pointed the ball. My next big time player was Aiden Hutchinson. I mean, as soon as he got off the bus, he got all his sacks, right? As soon as the game started, it was Hutchinson, sack. You know what I mean? It was just, he dominated, right? And then I'm going to go with my last, Jesse Bates, to seal the game last week, to be able to come from the middle of the field, eat all that grass to get outside the numbers, pick off a 7 route. That's highly impressive for any safety, any DB to be able to do that, though. So those are my 3 big plays this weekend that I seen on the defensive side, and all those guys are balling.
Man, let's talk about this Cardinals defense. Holding the Rams to 10 points. I'm talking about any team with a quarterback has a chance to win every week. You know what I mean? And so the Cardinals holding the Rams to 10 points, kudos to them, just in general. But then let's talk about
Cooper Kupp was hurt though. Kupp and Puka's out. Both their receivers are out.
All you need is a quarterback. All you need is a quarterback, and they will come. But then I'll say Max Crosby, to me, I just love the way he plays. It's the all go. is 100% every play. You know, it's just
Right.
it's a beautiful thing to watch. But also, you know, whenever a quarterback gets benched, you have to give the shout out to the Chargers defense.
Hello.
Chargers defense went out there and got Bryce Young benched. He had 84 yards passing. You know what I mean? Like that's wild in this day and age where, you know, any receiver can take a 2-yard mesh, like a 5-yard mesh, 80 yards. You know what I mean? Like you gotta give those teams credit because, man, like it's so hard. These offenses, you know, the way they make all the penalties and everything, they make it that these offenses are supposed to thrive. Remember, this is it's an entertainment business. They want these offenses to score. And you know, you've seen teams hold teams at 3 points. Man, that's tough. But also, I'm always gonna say this. I might be biased, but how about them Cleveland Browns?
Come on, give the dog pound some noise, dog. Go ahead.
Know, hey, you already know. Like, how about them Cleveland Browns? You know, going to hostile territory, you know, coming out with a win. And it's just a defensive performance, but then the offense stepped up, ran the ball, and gave us some help. But I tell you, you know, if our defense keeps playing like this, it's going to be scary.
No love for the Steelers defense?
Man, no, they played a rookie quarterback. I really don't have.
They gave up 6 points, man. Hey, well, the Chargers gave up 3. So, yeah, it was some great defensive performances going on out there. Like you said, love Max Crosby. He's just a guy that plays with his hair on fire every play, relentless effort, and he doesn't come out the game.
No.
Right? I play with Bond coming out the game. D-Word, they coming out the game. Right? We just got to be honest. Max Crosby is going full throttle every play, and he's not coming out the game. So I salute that man, and every time I played him, man, I always have big respect for him.
Well, that's my defensive plays. That's where it starts for me. I mean, Max Crosby's kind of a one-man defense in the way a lockdown corner is. You know, like he shuts down that half of the field and or any kind of boots going that way. And then Aiden Hutchinson, of course. And I'm going to give a little honorable mention to the Browns. I love the defensive prowess that the Browns have. I'm going to give a little love to the dog pound. Hated playing there. That's why I'm biased against them. It's so loud, man. Ridiculous out there. But hats off to the Cleveland Browns. But can I get some love for the Bills defense? I mean, Benford's getting a pick, multiple picks before Tua got injured. Even on the injury where Tua Tagovailoa unfortunately got a concussion, Damar Hamlin makes a clean tackle. I mean, that is heads-up awareness by your defense. The interior of that defensive line is playing good, and look out, Von Miller's back. And the NFL doesn't know that yet, but you can watch that game. The old spinning, ducking, jiving, he's back. Von Miller's back. That Bills defense can play.
Man, talking about Tua, man, you know, 4 or 5 concussions in the span of a couple years. You know, that's a scary situation. What would y'all do in that situation? Would retirement even be on your mind?
Oh, definitely, most definitely, especially that hit didn't look hard. Right? That looked like a normal NFL tackle, right? That he got a concussion on, you know. So I think that he definitely has to look at his life and definitely get all the tests and scans and everything that he can. And I'm surprised they haven't gave him one of those best helmets yet, you know. We seen Roger Goodell say they got something better than, what do y'all call that?
Guardian cap.
Guardian cap.
Yeah, he said he has a helmet better than the Guardian cap out. So, you know, Tua definitely needs to be getting the best of the best helmets because, you know, that was a simple tackle that he's getting a sack on. So, Shelby, he definitely has to take a look at it. But you know how it is, man. When that money talks, you got $100 million on the table. You like, man, hey, I can sacrifice this brain for my kids, you know. So you never know how he's thinking.
You're not even gonna know where you at. You're not even gonna know. At this point, with all the concussions, are you even gonna know where you at? It's a scary situation.
Well, I think about the human aspect of as a football, like Tua Tagovailoa has only been a football player in terms of how we know him, right, for the last 20 years. And he taught himself how to throw the ball left-handed. I mean, we're talking about hours and hours of work. And I think what people miss in this conversation, and everybody agrees, the health concerns are real. The future is real. And as we know as dads, like your health as you get older from the NFL is more important than you ever realized when you were playing. And this is what he's done. This is what he's built for. Now, the question isn't as much, does he retire? It's, hey, Tua, what are you going to do? And I think that's what's going to be the biggest piece of the conversation for him is, hey, if I'm done, what am I going to do next? And feeling good, a purpose and a drive to do it. But I really feel for Tua Tagovailoa. It's unfortunate. And like Chris said, it wasn't a big hit, which makes you concerned about the future hits he would endure should he continue to play even this season. And it's not like we haven't seen this before, right? Just recently he had a concussion. They said it wasn't a concussion, and then clearly he was concussed, and then he had to leave the game again. That was, I believe it was 2 seasons ago or last season, right? So this is a history now. You have to pay attention. And the toughest part is, what are you going to do next if you're Tua Tagovailoa?
Man, my oldest daughter had 3 concussions. One, because she plays softball. She had 3 concussions, one like off season, and we almost had to end it.
Yeah,
and softball's not even a contact sport.
Yeah,
and so you're saying you're going into a sport where you're putting yourself at risk even more, and you've had 5 concussions, and not just concussions where it's like, oh, my head hurts. You're talking about you're doing that fencing technique where your arms lock up, you know, and that's how you really know, like, that's a bad concussion. That's your brainstem.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So it's just, you got kids. Do you want to play with your kids? Is it really just all about the money at this point? Because, I want to be there to run around with my kids when I'm done playing. I want to be able to remember all these moments I had. When I'm an old man, I want to be able to remember all the moments that I've had with my family. And is it really going to be worth it? Is it really going to be worth it? And I think that's really what you got to think about. Obviously, to each his own. Everybody's going to have to make their own decision. But we got to eventually, sometimes you got to stop him from himself.
Yeah.
To be honest, like, sometimes you got to just say enough is enough, man. Like,
yeah.
Like, how many concussions does it take for someone to just be like, you know what? You got to be done.
Well, and that's on the medical staff too now, right? I mean, there's a large part of this that's on the Dolphins medical staff, which has failed Tua in the past. What doctor in their right mind is going to clear Tua to play again? Like, I want to see his credentials. I want to see how many times he's been written up,
I know they have to use an outside source, outside doctor when it comes to the concussion protocol. So they'll have that in effect. They say it's outside, but he's still part of the NFL.
Yeah, I was about to say, is anything ever really outside?
Yeah, you know what I mean?
NFL.
Yeah. So it's not really outside, but from the reports, Adam Schefter said that he has no plans to retire. So he'll probably just go through a recovery, do his protocol, whatever. And, looks like he still wants to play, though. So every man has a choice to make, right, in our lives, right? And that's the choice he went with. There's probably tons of guys out there that's had a lot of concussions, but they don't report it. They just stay out there and play, right? So we know how the game is in the NFL. And like you said, Shelby, with Tua's case, it might be leaning more towards the money, or it could be like Ryan said, I don't know what else I want to do other than play football, right? So it's a tough decision for him. And I don't know how many kids or how big his family is right now, but they got to be concerned for sure.
Mm-hmm. Why don't you go ahead and take us out, man? Why don't you wrap it up, Chris? Take us out.
Man, I think I had we got the underdog players of the week.
Okay.
Right. And I had 2 underdog players of the week. Fred Warner. When I talk about the middle linebacker position, right? Understanding how to play the run. He's the best in the pass coverage and playing that middle, playing the palm safety, right? 9 tackles, 2 forced fumbles, and an INT, right? This guy was unbelievable all day for the Niners, right? Marvin Harrison Jr., we got to go with him this week, right? 4 catches, 3 touchdowns, over 100 yards, showing up as a playmaker that they needed for the Cardinals, and that's what they need. They need that connection to continue to build with him and Kyler, but he's my 1B underdog. The 1A is Fred Warner, right? It's hard to replace what this man did all over the field. And, man, shout out to Fred Warner, and he continued to be the dog in the middle.
All right. Well, we are the Harrises. Thanks for joining us for this week's episode. Catch us next week. Follow us on social media and get the best insight from some of the best players to ever do it.